among Canadian receivers in the league. 11th year guy, approaching 6,500 career yards.
Mike O'Shea watching over this club that he has guided to so much success in recent history and trying to find a way back into the win column here on the road. 0-2 at home to start the season. Very uncharacteristic. And it is Scott Milanovich on the other side for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, as he has got plenty of experience. Of course, the Canadian Football League said he was extremely proud of how the Tiger Cats approach practice coming out of the bye week this week. And under Scott Milanovich, they are 4-1 off of the bye and 14-5 off the bye since the start of 2018. As we round out week 5 in the Canadian Football League here from Hamilton on Made in the Hammer night that Winnipeg would love to spoil. Caught at the 20, and Trey Babel off and running right away to the 43-yard line, as out comes Zach Collaros, who decided to stay and hang out with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers instead of going to some function on Friday night. We'll get to that later.
Yes, honored guest Zach Collaros. Started his career obviously as a Toronto Argonaut, but where he really broke out, first became a starter, was as a Hamilton Tiger Cat. It's always special when he returns to the Hamilton Stadium against his former team.
As they'll play 1st and 10. Collaros underneath and intercepted on the very first play of the ball game. Not what the Bombers needed offensively to get things going. It's Destin Talbert who flew down from his boundary halfback position.
Well, Destin Talbert reading Zach Collaros' mail on this one. Any pressure is completely picked up, but the ball comes out quick. Zach looking for Tim White. Destin Talbert reads it all the way. Great jump on this football. Sticking his foot in the ground, getting out of that back pedal. Destin Talbert, one of the underrated defensive backs in the Canadian Football League, in my opinion.
5 interceptions in his first 2 years in the Canadian Football League. That is first of 2026 as Bo Levi Mitchell in the offense. They don't need any help scoring this year, but they'll get it right away as they complete underneath. And we get a look at Bo Levi Mitchell and his numbers after the completion to Tyson Middlemost.
Yeah, and obviously lots said about the quarterback play in the Canadian Football League thus far this season, particularly amongst the veteran guys. And Bo Levi Mitchell, once again, the headliner. Fantastic start for him here at Scott Milanovich's offense.
14-9 against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He's got 5 options on this snap as he looks over the middle, double move, caught, and running free through the secondary. DeAndre Smith picking right up where he left off in week 2 against these Blue Bombers, where he had a monster outing as we look at the rest of the Hamilton offense.
And along that offensive line, they made one adjustment since the start of the year. Liam Dobson, the former Blue Bomber in his 2nd year in black and gold, moves from guard to center. A little bit more of that Winnipeg flavor. Take your pick of former Bomber receivers. Carrick Wheatfall, quiet week against BC. No catches, only targeted once. But no doubt he'd like to make an impact against his former squad here today.
Liam Dobson's first start at center came on the road in Winnipeg in week 2. Is blitz on, and Mitchell looks to the end zone. Kenny Lawler hanging up in the air. Did he rip it away? He did, but was he inbounds? They'll say incomplete. And Lawler almost adding the acrobatics for another highlight catch.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. The replay center is going to automatically review this.
Incomplete pass, but a great highlight. Kenny Lawler with the break to the ball, and let's see. Watch the feet as he fights for control. Did they touch that end line before he had control of the football? This is a close call. The official is well positioned as you see him in the shot. That's a close call. I actually kind of feel like he had it a split second before he hit the line, and obviously we need it slowed down to even be able to judge that.
If he's got possession and his backside touches inbounds here, there's a foot, there's a, yeah, sliding through, but 19 contested catches last season, the most in the CFL for Kenny Lawler. And you can see why. This is going to be an extremely close call. And we have it from our referee, Justin McInnes, with the final decision.
After automatic review by the replay center, the ruling on the field is overturned to a touchdown.
I'll tag another one on for Kenny Lawler.
Just goes up and takes it away from the defender, Jonathan Moxey.
20 touchdowns for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in his time in Manitoba. 14 came last year for these Hamilton Tiger Cats in KL 89's first year in the black and gold, and now he's got 2.
Last game against BC, scored touchdowns on their 2nd, 6th, and 10th offensive plays of the game out of the gate.
Incredible, and it is early and often the MO for the Tiger Cats, especially their passing attack. Laros hits the turf after 1 pass attempt and 1 interception. We look at the Winnipeg offense.
And taking a look at that offensive line, Micah Mazkua gets the start at left guard. They've been shuffling over the course of the last couple of games due to injuries in that group. And of course, the return to Hamilton Stadium of Tim White, one of the most prolific receivers in Hamilton Tiger Cats history, moved to Winnipeg during the offseason.
Welcome in our American viewers watching on CBS. All you've missed is a Tiger Cats interception and an immediate Tiger Cats touchdown. The 7-0 lead in the early minutes here as Amari Notice into the lineup here through a couple of different injuries, and this is what the rest of the defense looks like around him.
Yeah, Philip Osai in his 2nd season with the Hamilton Tiger Cats played the last 12 games of last season, had 8 sacks in that time. Of course, it is the Tiger Cat debut of veteran middle linebacker Winton McManus. Look for him to inject a little bit of energy into this group. And Jamal Peters, bit of a scary injury last time out. Great to see him back in the lineup with the Cats coming off the bye.
Absolutely. Finally, Winton McManus on the field for the Tiger Cats, and it comes here at home after a bone bruise on his knee, held him out for a while. Is now from behind. Flores goes down, and it's Julian Hauser.
Veteran leader of this defensive line group, Julian Hauser, is going to come from the right side of your screen. Just really a straight bull rush against Stanley Bryant. Got underneath the veteran a little bit. Couple of well-decorated players doing battle there. Hauser gets the win.
48th career sack for Julian Hauser. 3rd of this season is now Hamilton gets possession back once again and running free. Spinning away from the attempted tackle, Isaiah Wooden. Well, and also I did the math at the bye week here because the Tiger Cats were away in week number 4. And Bo Levi Mitchell this season is on pace for 48 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. 48 touchdowns is Doug Flutie's single-season CFL record, which if he can hang on to that, we're going to have a heck of a conversation about where the Tiger Cats are down the stretch as Mitchell will look to throw once again. Why not? This time sidearm slings it out complete. Max Mang makes the grab, minimal gain, and a good tackle in the open field by Michael Griffin, the second part of this Winnipeg defense.
And looking at the rest of this group, of course, defensive line led by the great Willie Jefferson. Big career goals for him. We'll talk about that as the game unfolds. Michael Griffin, I think, is one of the most versatile defenders in the Canadian Football League, playing a bigger role this year. And the former Ticat, Jonathan Moxey, playing that corner, doing battle a little bit. We saw him on the opening touchdown going up against Kenny Lawler.
Major Williams as well playing the corner spot. We'll have to deal with Lawler tonight as DeAndre Smith underneath on 2nd down, converts and more, slides down just shy of the 55-yard line. But Moxey said on Bo Levi Mitchell, Dwayne, that he's getting smarter. He's always had the arm, but every single time I see him, he feels like he's smarter. He just picks us apart more.
That's it. That's it. And Bo talked to us about that a little bit in terms of his preparation, his game prep. He said, you're always working hard, but over the course of his career, kind of really fine-tuning what he needs to spend his time on. in terms of being ready to play.
It was intriguing to hear him say, don't do things because it's in a leadership book. Just do it because it fits you. Well, this season it's fit him well, as now he takes a home run shot over the top, and that one nearly a circus grab. Myron Mitchell, defended by the aforementioned Major Williams, knocked away incomplete, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Bo taking a shot, putting his faith in his receiver, and this one pretty good coverage, obviously from Major Williams, running step for step with Mitchell down the field. A little bit of a Jose Canseco knockdown there at the end of the play.
Just a 3-man line here for the Bombers. That's all they'll send as Mitchell stares down the coverage to the outside. Lawler come back and couldn't hang on to it. Right in front of his old bench boss, Mike O'Shea, incomplete, and the punting unit will hit the turf for the first time here for Hamilton.
Yeah, Kenny didn't want that one. Level of difficulty wasn't high enough for him along that sideline. Bombers going with the 3-man rush, obviously trying to lock things down underneath.
Trey Vavel looked to make some magic on the road in Hamilton. Always dangerous as a returner. Most outstanding rookie, most outstanding special teams player, but the coverage right there and a flag down. Maybe the coverage a bit too close this time around as Stavros Katsantonis, the starting free safety ball hawk, closest at the end of the play.
Hamilton, number 3, 15-yard penalty, first down Winnipeg.
You get a look at Zach Collaros last week. When you were there on the scene, obviously fumbles were the main issue for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers offense, but Zach still ripping it up and down the field.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, the veteran quarterbacks giving offenses a little bit of an edge in the early going this season. Zach Collaros obviously amongst them, but the Bombers put themselves in a little bit of a hole in the first half of that ball game. You alluded to the turnovers. They've got to try and clean that up. Battled back in the second half, but couldn't quite get it done.
Zach looks to throw, and that one complete. Ontario Wilson makes the grab just shy of the first down marker. In week 2, Collaros, by the way, against the Hamilton Tiger Cats and their defense, had 421 yards and lost. And a 7-yard completion means that Collaros has gone past Kahari Jones in all-time Bombers history.
Yes, 3 guys that played for both the Bombers and the Ticats, by the way. As he passes Kahari Jones, you know, Kahari should get bonus points for having to put up with Milt Stegall all those years in Winnipeg.
Inside, we see Brady Oliveira for the first time and churns those legs for a first down pickup. There's Penny Neufeld right there in the middle of that blocking fray after missing last week's game due to twins being born. Congratulations to the Neufeld family, the 37-year-old tagging a couple more.
Yeah, it means Pat Neufeld, longest serving Winnipeg Blue Bomber.
Fake to Oliveira this time. And a quick pitching catch. Destin Talbert right there blocking down on Tim White. His 87th career game. First 83 of them were with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. As there's Neufeld, his young boy Eli and girl Rowan being born. Congratulations to them. They made the old man versus zone joke about, you know, now we're outnumbered and all the rest I saw this week, but I think it's a lot more than that. It might be CFL levels of offensive scoring when you got 3 kids, including twins.
Yeah, you can't shut him down, you just try and contain him.
Completion underneath to Tim White, goes for 7. Collaros to the outside, and this one just slid a little bit over the side of the hand, intended for Nick Dembski, and Reggie Stubblefield right there.
Yeah, nice route by Nick Dembski. It's just a simple little quick out. Looking for a short gain. You see the footwork, and Dempsey gets that separation with Stubblefield trying to protect the inside. But couldn't quite pull that one in.
Send the punting unit out. Jamison Sheehan as he knocks it down to the 10-yard line. Caught by Isaiah Wooden of this 2026 campaign, but the Bombers giving up about 70 yards more this season than they did last year. There's obviously lots of time ahead, but when you're facing an offensive attack like this with a long field and the playbook is wide open, always a great challenge. Mitchell will begin under center. Turns around and hands it off as the Tiger Cats would love to run the football, Scott Milanovich has told us, Dwayne, but he says he'd like to do it under a very certain circumstance.
Exactly, trying to get a lead and keep that clock running, right? As Scott Milanovich and so many coaches refer to it as shortening the game, right? Reducing the number of plays, reducing the number of opportunities for the other team to get back in it. So the fast start, certainly something that every team looks for, but the Tiger Cats trying to make that part of their DNA, and it has certainly resonated the last couple of games.
Late substitution from the Tiger Cats after play was whistled in, and so the play clock rolls inside 3. They do get it off, and Mitchell looks left all the way. Kenny Lawler, and on top of it, it's Williams once again. He said that week 2 left a bad taste in his mouth when Bo Levi Mitchell went wild against this blue and gold defense. And Williams answers the call on that snap.
Yeah, Kenny Lawler appeared to be looking for a flag on this play. We'll get a look at the earlier part of the route here, but I certainly thought there was a good finish by Williams. I mean, maybe a split second early, but pretty good looking defensive play to me.
Scott Milanovich, flag in hand. Doesn't look like he'll pull the trigger on it, though, as Kenny Lawler with 75 straight games with a reception. Oh, now the flag does come out right before the snap came. It looked like Milanovich had fought off the idea of challenging. And at the last second,
Hamilton is Hamilton is challenging the previous play for pass interference. Play will be reviewed.
So Lawler already has a catch in this ballgame, obviously the touchdown. That extends his league-leading active streak of 75 straight games, but that one incomplete, targeting 89, and they'll take another look at it.
Yeah, and I think part of the consideration, you know, I think a lot of plays when you look at them in slow motion, the DB's going to get there early. Now, I think as much as the timing, the thing that probably leads Scott Milanovich to throw this flag and that could get Major Williams into trouble is that left arm around the waist. You know, and initially looking at it, you see the right arm come in and make a great play on the ball, but it's that sneaky left arm wrapping up the receiver that is going to be the crux of the debate here.
Well, the interesting part of this one as well to me is Milanovich was actually looking up at his team booth up here, talking into the headset, but actually communicating with them. It looked like he was yelling, "Should I? Guys, you got to let me know." And we have an answer on Milanovich's challenge.
After review by the replay center, the ruling on the field stands. Hamilton will be charged a timeout.
And again, you can make the argument that he's there a split second early, but I don't think you're making that argument without the benefit of slow motion replay. And you got to give a little bit of grace, if you will, to the defenders.
Now there was
on
one
split second
in Kelowna last night that looked very touch and go that was overturned
yes.
as well. So not exactly the same play, but interesting nonetheless. As Vavel stutter steps on the punt return, now gets the edge, turns the corner, and it will be finally wrapped up.
Why was Coloros invited to that in the first place? Well, he goes way back with Kelsey. The two were teammates at the University of Cincinnati. They were also roommates in college, so of course he got the invite. The two have stayed close for many years since then. He did joke, however, and say recently when he was talking to the couple, he said, you know, you could have checked the Bombers' schedule, guys. In all seriousness, he said that's what happens sometimes when you're a football player. You gotta stay committed to the job, and that's exactly what he did here. And guys up in the booth, if you were invited, would you have called in sick to this game?
Oh, Dwayne would have gone for sure. Yeah, he would have just bounced from the booth, and you know what?
Listen, I like Travis Kelce, but I'm going to admit flat out, I'm a bit of a Swiftie, bit of a closet Swiftie.
know what I love about that? At the end of that clip, if you saw the full thing, Zach said, you know what was actually disappointing is like, Trav came to all my stuff. He's like, he made time to come to my stuff, and I couldn't make time to go to his. So, which, by the way, I'm wondering what the connection is, because they must have had great times when they were roommates. There's only one career touchdown pass from Zach Collaros to Travis Kelce in 2011 at Miami of Ohio. So it's a memorable one, just one touchdown pass, but they stayed connected. Looks like Collaros and Dembski right there. Zach graduated in 2011, and Kelce had 8 touchdowns in 2012, in case you were wondering. So
here you see the Bombers' little pre-snap motion, trying to create some confusion for the defenders here. Set up a convoy in front of Nick Dembski. Pretty good pursuit to the football there. Not a surprise seeing one Wynton McManus making the play out near the sideline.
Sergio Castillo donning the goggles with the career long of 63. This one well inside of that, and the first points on the board for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers here on the road.
Well, this is it. We talked about the Ticats' desire and to try and get out to that fast start, make the opposition chase the game a little bit. It was really where the BC Lions got in trouble, as we said. I mean, you get in a hole early against this explosive Hamilton Tiger Cat offense. So, you know, you look at Winnipeg here getting a field goal before the end of the first quarter as, it's just a field goal, but it matters. Keep this game within reach in the early going.
They all add up. Top pass defense from Winnipeg, 264 yards per game, but the worst rushing defense so far, despite the fact Hamilton has only rushed once. They go back to the air this time. Keandre Smith, again, catching seemingly everything. And Levi Mitchell throws his way, as that one looks like it'll be a gain of 5, 2nd and 5.
Keandre Smith, 4th-round pick out of the University of Guelph in 2022. You've heard us talk many times about the outstanding 2022 receiver crop. Keandre Smith, I know, enjoys the competition with other guys from that class like Sam Emelis, Tyson, Jalen Philpott.
Mitchell over the top, stays aggressive, and in coverage. It was Isaiah Wooden, the return specialist. And they tried to spring a quick one that time, and going after, looks like the Hamilton native out of North Texas, 2nd-round pick last year, Jalen Smith in coverage.
And we've seen Hamilton over the years through different offensive coordinators, different head coaches. You think about Brandon Banks in his time here, started off as a returner, gradually got worked into the offense. Tyreek McAllister, they certainly created a little bit of a package for him offensively during his time here. Guy who is an outstanding returner now with Calgary, of course, and now you see Isaiah Wooden getting his shot on O.
McCarthy sends it down to Trey Vavel. Vavel wrapped up by the Tiger. Tyler Chernowski in the middle of the fray, as always, as Tim White comes back and playing a game here in Hamilton. Again, he's already played against his old team once back in week number 2. But this one, I'm sure, feels a little bit different with the familiar surroundings, but being at the opposite end of the building underground in the locker rooms.
Yeah, Tim White played at such a consistently high level throughout his time with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, always among the CFL's leading receivers.
Collaros looks down the field, and it's Dembski getting out of his break, coming back to the football, and gets the first down. As Tim White running mates with Dembski, 22% of his games in Hamilton went for 100 yards or more. Like 1 out of every 5 games, he was putting up big yardage consistently, and it didn't matter which quarterback it was either. He became an all-time top 10 Tiger Cats receiver in terms of yardage and pure production in 5 years.
Yeah, remarkable run, certainly, for Tim White. Scott Milanovich, nothing but good things to say about his former receiver.
They go to White. Quick screen on the outside, and then into the Hamilton bench. He has walked out. Says hello to some old friends, and that will do it for the first quarter of play. As the Tiger Cats releasing season 2 of their Made in the Hammer
in this heavyweight battle. Bombers withstand that. Get here to the second quarter with a 7-3 ball game.
Blitz is on. Collaros. He didn't see it. Ball's out. And on top of it is the big man, Beck. Stanley Bryant. And Collaros just asking for a moment. Has a clean shot to start the second quarter on the blind side of number 8.
Well, watch for Reggie Stubblefield. Times it up from the right side of your screen. That timed up blitz hitting the line of scrimmage just as the ball is snapped. Leaves him as the free guy coming backside. Zach Collaros, as you can see from his reaction, has no idea that the nickel linebacker is there.
Flag flies deep into the special teams secondary behind the play. I think Collaros was just trying to figure out what direction that train went, where it came from, and how fast it was going when Reggie Stubblefield punched the football out.
Reggie Stubblefield comes into this game second.
Well, the ball was in flight.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats, you see number
Hamilton,
1 near the
number 0.
bottom of your screen, standing on that yellow H. With guys twisting it up on the inside. Didn't look like the Bombers were outnumbered, but just the defensive lineman did a good job of occupying the O-line to free up Reggie off the edge.
Tell you what, if you want to make immediate friends with any kid in the GTA right now, doing the Cristiano Ronaldo Sue, like Austin Mack did in Kelowna last night, followed up by the entire secondary of the Tiger Cats.
Yes.
Rampant with Cristiano training in Toronto down the street the last little while. Now they're gone in the World Cup, but big play, big celebration, rightfully so, from Reggie Stubblefield as Bo Levi Mitchell goes back to the air and looks into the secondary. Wonderfully layered throw over the top of coverage, and Keandre Smith, that is 4th catch of the ball game and the 250th of his career.
The chemistry between Keandre Smith and Bo Levi Mitchell has been something to follow over the course of the last 3 seasons. Mentioned Keandre setting a new career high through each of his first 4 seasons in the Canadian Football League. Looking to blow last year's numbers out of the water.
And I remember you saying in the season opener here, as we get a look at Keandre's numbers, that it's okay, so you got Kenny Lawler, he's the top guy, and then you lose Tim White, he goes to Winnipeg. And I think a lot of people assumed that it would be Shamar Bridges that would be the number 2 here in Hamilton, but it's really become Keandre. He's jumped up in that level. He is the Robin to the Batman that is Kenny Lawler.
Yeah, I really think within their offense.
This one complete for a first down. It is Curly Gittins Jr., another one of the free agency acquisitions. But yeah, the number of guys and where they're playing, their roles are important here.
Yeah, like when you kind of look at, whether you want to call it slotting guys, their roles, whatever it is within the offense, I think ultimately Keandre kind of outgrew being a number 3 guy. And this is part of what, I don't want to call Tim White expendable because you're talking about one of the best receivers in the league. But the fact is they had a surplus of receivers. They could afford to move on, spend their cap elsewhere.
And spreading it around all of a sudden are the Tiger Cats. It's the former Bomber, Garrett Wheatfall, who won several one-on-ones against Jonathan Moxley back in week 2. He's back at it again, and 3 different receivers on 3 straight plays for Bo.
Yeah, Kenny Lawler, Carrick Wheatfall, Myron Mitchell, 3 former Bombers you're going to see feature in this Hamilton Tiger Cat passing attack today. Wheatfall, obviously a guy who has shown some serious flashes through his first couple of seasons in the CFL.
To the outside this time. Why not go 4 for 4? Kenny Lawler gets chucked out of bounds, hangs on for the grab. Camera crew going for a spill along that sideline as well, but Lawler asking for a little forgiveness on that one.
Once again, you get Kenny Lawler working out wide. Major Williams knows the reputation. You see the cushion he's given him. Kenny Lawler says, you're going to sit that far back. I'll just turn, open up to the sideline, take that quick hitter.
Shout out to Mitch and the awareness, the ball security did not drop the camera, by the way. Our cameraman on the sideline, Mitch down there. Good job, Mitch. Hang on to the rock, my man.
Attention to detail as the Ticats get themselves a fresh set of downs here in Bomber territory, Marsh.
You can see Bo Levi Mitchell's eyes starting to light up, but Scott Milanovic, the intensity cranks up as they get right on the edge of the score zone inside the 20-yard line. And the play clock rolling late. Bo's gonna have to go. He recognizes it late. They'll fake the run, and to the outside on a corner route, and off the hands, incomplete. Max Bang. And a flag down in the backfield as Bo Levi Mitchell picks himself up off the Hamilton Stadium turf.
Max Mang has been the offensive green zone secret weapon for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the early part of this season. The big tight end, native of Germany, played his college football at Syracuse. Couple of touchdowns through the first few games.
Roughing the passer, Winnipeg, number 40. 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Thanks. 6 catches coming into tonight. 3 touchdowns. Half the time this guy touches it, Dwayne, he scores.
Yeah, pretty good ratio. There you saw the shot on Bo Levi Mitchell. And the almost touchdown, number 4 for Max Mang.
Noor Gakpo, the Edmonton-born rookie at a Wake Forest, 4th overall this year in the draft, takes the roughing the passer penalty, the extra step, the little push, and so Bo Levi Mitchell from the 7. Bo looks left all the way. Kenny Lawler to the flats, trying to dance away. Great open field tackle. It looks like that was coming down from the secondary immediately from the Bombers, holding them shy of the goal line, 2nd and goal.
Yeah, and this is a pretty good close to the football. When you look at this play, you're going to see Kenny Lawler come all the way across the formation and out into the flat. Defender has to track him through traffic, and they do a nice job bumping their coverage to switch it out. Jake Kelly picks him up as they switch off. That's great communication on the back end to keep Lawler out of the end zone, recognizing what the Ticats are trying to do and calling your defense to overcome it.
Jake Kelly, the Markham, Ontario native, makes the play, and now it's tipped at the line of scrimmage, knocked down. And it looked like it was a guaranteed touchdown for Kenny Lawler, but the Winnipeg native, Colin Cornelson, 2nd year of the Manitoba Bisons program, got a mitt on it.
Yeah, getting an opportunity here in this D-line rotation. Good awareness as Brandon Revenberg had him blocked up, but keeping his eyes on the quarterback to get a hand in that passing lane.
And an incompletion for Bo Levi Mitchell inside the opponent's 20-yard line. Had not happened yet this year. Wouldn't
be the World Cup without a couple of upsets.
Speaking of big blondies, here's Taylor Elgersma in the football game, just like early on. Elgersma getting a look. Hands it off to Brady Oliveira. And Elgersma, an interesting story is the Wilfrid Laurier Golden Hawks quarterback getting his opportunity despite Drew Brown being acquired from the Ottawa REDBLACKS, and maybe Zach Collaros taking that big hit from Reggie Stubblefield at the end of the last drive, has thrown the young talented big man out of London, Ontario into the fray.
Yeah, certainly excited to see Taylor Elgersma get an opportunity here in the Canadian Football League. Don't love the circumstance, of course. Zach Collaros perhaps a little banged up over there.
Collaros helmet on and watching. We'll get an update when we can for you, but right now it's Elgersma's show as he completes underneath Nick Dembski. And again, flying to the football, quickly making the tackles to Amari Walton. As we get another look at Collaros getting caught up high by Reggie Stubblefield.
Saw Zach take his time getting up from that one. first homecoming game of sorts for Elgersma, as you see Drew Brown on the sideline in behind Zach Collaros there.
Not in uniform here tonight. It's Taylor Elgersma right now, and Bryce Perkins dressed as the third stringer as Isaiah Wooden somehow evades tacklers and spins away to the... Coming back, we head down to the sidelines. Here's Danielle Bain.
Thanks, Marshall. Well, right now I just heard from the Bombers team who say Collaros is questionable, so he's not ruled out at this point, but he does have an upper body injury, so questionable in terms of returning to this game. I'll keep my eyes and ears posted down on the Bombers sideline, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Danielle. And again, interesting because Taylor Elgersma, since coming out of Laurier, spent time in the National Football League. Obviously, preseason Green Bay Packers played very well. He was bouncing around in some other leagues in the States. Got convinced to come back to the Bombers. Then they acquire Drew Brown, and he wasn't sure, well, does this mean I get my opportunity now, or will I? Or, well, it's right here for Elgersma, it looks like, for the time being, as the Tiger Cats hand it off to Larry Roundtree. But an interesting situation developing that we'll obviously keep you updated on as we go throughout.
And of course, you know, for followers of Canadian football, Taylor Elgersma is a name you've heard a lot over the last few years. But I mean, the fact is, he's a Canadian Football League rookie. He's in his first year, but by all accounts, a very good training camp. Very legitimately won the #2 job behind Zach Collaros. So the opportunity now is his.
An interesting interaction right there, as well as Mitchell looks to throw down the field, and right on the Hammer logo. Curly Gittens Jr. used to feature in the double blue down the road, but now here in Hamilton, making plays reminiscent of his best year in Toronto.
From talking about one offensive star from Wilfrid Laurier University to another from a different era, Curly Gittens Jr. Free agent signing here. Ticats are a team over the last couple of years that has kind of been up against it ratio-wise. And so to add an established Canadian starter on offense in Curly Gittens, essentially flipping the American Tim White, adding a Canadian starter in Gittens Jr. to that receiving corps.
The outside to Larry Roundtree as he's wrapped up by Willie Jefferson down the field. But you make a good point. When did Curly Gittens Jr. become the veteran Golden Hawk alumni? All of a sudden, the kids are getting younger.
A terrific college career for him, and a guy who certainly finding his way in this Tiger Cat offense week by week. You see the flashes.
Effort play from Willie J, getting back and bringing down Roundtree. So it's a first down from the Bombers 41. Mitchell, quick ball fake, pressure on, and it's Jefferson once again. Oh, actually, it was Tony Jones on the outside who almost got home, but incomplete. Lawler trying to dig it out.
That's a catch.
Hamilton sideline, Dwayne, certainly convinced that 89 had that one.
Yeah, they may be a little biased, but we'll take a look. Maybe a tough sell. Yeah, tough to get a real clean look at that one. You know, not even Kenny Lawler has earned the right for us to just take his word for it.
What a throw by Mitchell here to the outside. DeAndre Smith. It's a frozen rope from the right hand of Bo Levi Mitchell past Jalen Smith in coverage.
Confidence such a big part of Bo Levi Mitchell's game, and it looked like that had been shaken a little bit, right? In his first couple of years as a Hamilton Tiger Cat, but I would argue that his confidence level when you watch him set in the pocket and throw the football may be higher now than it has been at any point in his career.
I'm with you. It's a great call. Mitchell looks over the top corner route. Myron Mitchell all by himself. Dives! Oh, couldn't hang on. Bo Levi nearly out. Bo saw the pressure coming, knew he had to get rid of it, and tried to go back to 7.
Pass interference, Winnipeg, number 24. It's going to be first down at the spot of the foul.
You see back-to-back plays, the Hamilton Tiger Cats trying to exploit the speed of Myron Mitchell, looking to him as another potential big play guy in this offense. One catch against the BC Lions 2 weeks ago, but for 56 yards to set up the Ticats' second touchdown of that ballgame.
9-0 for first downs in this quarter in favor of Hamilton. Moving the football, but looking to finish in a way that they did so easily off the top. Third play of the football game. A touchdown pass from Bo Levi Mitchell to Kenny Lawler. Here we are deep in the second. They go back to it, one-on-one. And Major Williams, once again, not shy. They are going after the young man at a Carson Newman.
Hey, they're going after him, but tell you, the young man came to compete today. Major Williams. We talked about the left arm on the earlier call that the Hamilton Tiger Cats challenged. Maybe got away with one there as well, with Lawler trying to break to the inside.
Mitchell, as they empty it out, looks right down the middle of the field and nearly intercepted. Oh, would have been the first INT of the year for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and what a time it would have come, as Evan Holm couldn't hang on.
You see Holm flash over the top there. Curly Gittins just getting to the inside against Dietrich Nichols. Those two veteran halfbacks, each getting a shot at the football on that play.
Mark Leggio lines this one up, just a chippy from 19. And another few points for the Tiger Cats, avoiding disaster as Holm can't hang on. Assignment from Danielle Bain right there, but she'll go anywhere for the story. That's what we appreciate.
We get her a little hazard pay.
Dre Babel into the fray he goes. Across the 20, the 30, and thrown backwards right there. As we haven't said the name Winton McManus much, and Taylor Elgersma is going to be staring down one of the best middle linebackers in the Canadian Football League here as he continues to get snaps with Zach Colaro's hit in this first half and out with a apparent injury, questionable to return.
Taylor Elgersma, we've talked a lot obviously about his career at Wilfrid Laurier University. You get a look there at Winton McManus staring at him from the other side of the ball, but a guy who also spent some time participating in the quarterback internship program in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, you're right. He's got plenty of looks for those long-term additions to the program as Brady Oliveira carries on the inside. And you've always said that should be a program that is the best quarterbacks.
Yeah,
regardless
absolutely.
of year.
Absolutely. You know, and sometimes you get a guy like Taylor Elgersma who certainly ranks amongst the top prospects. Trey Ford obviously participating in the program previously as well. Predominantly U Sports quarterbacks. Occasionally you get a CJFL quarterback participating.
Elgersma, the closest he can get in the CFL to playing a home game, even though he's with the road team, gets a chance here in Hamilton. But with a dry handoff, and his best friend is going to become Brady Oliveira, especially if he's running like that. First down, Winnipeg.
Yeah, and good anticipation there from Winnipeg offensive coordinator Tommy Condell. Recognize you've got a young quarterback in the game, only a few snaps into his CFL career. Of course, the Tiger Cats defensive front is going to pin their ears back and try and get upfield in a hurry. The perfect play to try and slow that down or to counter against that, a draw play, and especially when you've got Brady Oliveira in the backfield.
There's Tommy Condell dialing up the shots. He thought he'd be doing it for Colaros, but now Elgersma here on the road. First down of the quarter for Condell and the Bombers attack. Elgersma, play action fake, and this time he'll get it in the hands of Oliveira through the air as across the 50. And Brady always falling backwards for more yardage. This one looks like it goes for 7, maybe 8.
Yeah, you know, there's been obviously the talk in the early portion of this season about the potential of Edmonton running back Justin Rankin becoming the first 1,000 guy in CFL history. First with 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving in the same season. You know, Brady Oliveira a guy to me who should be in that conversation as well, given his level of involvement in the passing game.
Bryce Perkins comes in, and looks like the Bombers may be looking to grind out a second down and third down, but I'm not sure they'll need another attempt. They won't. Across the 55 they go. Just strikes me as you see Elgersma on the sideline and now returning onto the field as well. For anybody who's sitting at home going, oh, good for the kid from down the street who's, wow, this is a big moment for him. He played in Lambeau.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's pretty well adapted to big situations.
Well, and this is part of the thing for me about Taylor Elgersma as a quarterback. I talked about Bo Levi Mitchell, a guy who's been in the league 15 years, and the level of confidence, how that affects his play, big part of his success. Taylor Elgersma is a guy for whom the stage is not going to be too big.
And the arm strength there as well as he rips this one onto the body of Nick Dembski on the fly, bubbling out. And I can tell you from calling a couple of Yates Cups in the OUA, if there's one thing about Taylor Elgersma that anyone who hasn't seen him play before is going to absolutely fall in love with, there was a rocket attached to his right shoulder.
Yeah. And no doubt, and as you know, we celebrate the Canada Day long weekend here. How about this offensive drive featuring the Canadian quarterback handing to the Canadian quarterback and throwing to his Canadian leading receiver?
That one officially goes as a running play as it was thrown behind the point of release from Elgersma to Dembski. He'll turn around, hand it off, and it's trying to cut it back is Brady Oliveira. Short game, but when McManus does factor in and gets a chance on field to introduce himself to Brady O. Short yardage comes back into, actually no, it'll be the field goal unit here with Sergio Castillo.
Yeah, I'm not sure there was any introduction necessary between McManus and Oliveira. Many collisions over the years.
Scalaros watches on alongside Willie Jefferson, the veteran core of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And Castillo from just the other side of the 55. And he slips and falls. This one's going to fall short and in play as it skips past Isaiah Wooden. The crowd was all fired up for that one. Audible sigh as they wanted to see the missed field goal returned, but Castillo lost his footing.
Well, certainly not a common sight on an artificial surface, but you see that left foot, the plant foot slide as he goes to strike the football. Not able to get as much power as you would usually see on the kick, but yeah, you felt the anticipation from the Hamilton faithful here with the notion of Isaiah Wooden getting a jump on the return.
And special teams coach Mike Miller standing there alongside Mike O'Shea as they talk things over. I mean, the leg strength is clearly there. That's what they're saying. His career long is 63. There's really no win to be spoken of here tonight at Hamilton Stadium. So just a footing issue. Simple as that. But the single goes on, and now Bo Levi Mitchell completes to Kenny Lawler underneath. 32 seconds with which to work, and can Mitchell at the very least engineer a field goal, maybe more.
And it's been, when you talk about Kenny Lawler's role within this offense, it's been a lot of Lawler underneath, and we've seen the out routes, flat routes, etc. Trying to work in front of the defenders a little bit, but you know what they're setting up.
Definitely. Mitchell looks left, pumps, and then decides to get rid of this one over the head of Kenny Lawler as Willie Jefferson, big bear hug, just wants to go say hi to Bo, who's completing 80% of his passes, and you know, he just wants to say hi. Why not? Remind him you're there.
That's it. A couple of guys who have been competing against each other for a lot of years. Great mutual respect between the two.
So many long-term rivalry / friendships in the Canadian Football League. It's great when you see them come to life on the turf in game. And Willie pondering what could have been. As halftime coming up, Laura Dykin, Paul LaPolice, and Dave Naylor.
I think they should shave Laura's head at halftime so she fits in. Huh?
They are 8 seconds away in a 13-4 ball game, and for the explosion in scoring that we've seen in the CFL this year, it feels
Kind of tame.
This feels almost normal.
Yeah.
What is this? The norm has become 50, 60 points per game. Well below that right now, but you never know. The way teams have been playing is Winnipeg just trying to manage and get their way out of the half, backed up as Elgersma hands it off to Brady Oliveira. Gets a couple extra yards. And again, right there, the toothpick of Wynton McManus, face mask to face mask with Oliveira.
The Blue Bombers, obviously, given the time and field position here, just looking to safely get out of the half.
I mean, his arm strength, and he's a student of the game. You know, he has a pro arm. He's a student of the game. He works really hard. He's listened to everything that Zach and Tommy have to say. So, you know, he's a little sponge when it comes to the IQ stuff. So he's going to go out here and he's going to put on a good performance. And as an offense, we just got to do our thing to lead for him.
Thanks so much. Good luck in the third quarter.
Thank you, Danielle. Is Ethan Stewart down the street. McMaster, the Oakville native, makes the opening second half special teams tackle, but there you see Claro standing on the sidelines watching on and officially being told that he is done for the evening at this point. So it is Taylor Elgersma's game here against Bo Levi Mitchell. Going to be salivating at the opportunity for that one.
Yeah, and it's, you know, interesting. We'll talk a little bit about the whole idea of development of young quarterbacks and some of the thoughts we picked up in conversations this week.
Definitely. Down the sideline, Bo going vertical immediately, and once again, Major Williams right there, Carrick Weeple. They keep going after Williams, Dwayne, but coming into this one, leading in terms of completion percentage allowed against at just 62%, and certainly knocking down Bo Levi Mitchell's record-setting pace here early this season.
Yeah, and they've tried to match up Kenny Lawler against him, obviously as tough a matchup as you're going to get in the Canadian Football League, but Major Williams doing a nice job out on that boundary corner in his first year for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Intriguing too, they've been throwing in Myron Mitchell, Carrick Weeple, Kenny Lawler, everybody going after Williams, but he is standing tall, is now to the outside, and Lawler sits it down in front of Williams with Retta Cramby flying out in coverage. And it will be a Tiger Cats first down to open up the third quarter.
And look at the placement of this ball. You've got Cramby playing down low. He's going to sort of bracket with his corner inside out on Kenny Lawler, giving the veteran receiver a little extra attention. But the Ticats still find a way to get a win in that matchup.
As flags fly here, Mitchell will get backed up with a flag against the Tiger Cats offense. If Bo gets the victory here tonight against Winnipeg, skip his way past 112 victories that he currently has, tied 6 with Ricky Ray all time in CFL history. Certainly taking a methodical approach to open up this third quarter, and work to be done on 1st and 15. They'll empty it out 3 by 3. Mitchell dances away from initial pressure and completes. Gets it out to the 51, was the original line of scrimmage. Gain of 5 there for Isaiah Wooden Sr.
We've had a couple of looks at Wooden getting a little bit of an opportunity on this Hamilton Tiger Cat offense. And why not? A guy who's established himself over the last year plus in the Canadian Football League as one of the most explosive players available.
8th different receiver catching a pass for Bo Levi Mitchell here tonight as pressure's on. He goes underneath. Keandre Smith dancing, and they do go and get the first down after 1st and 15. Clinical approach. Get a little bit back on first down, and then Keandre Smith, yards after catch, earns it.
And you'll see they sort of clear things out. Watch how the defense bails out of there, and then you're going to see Keandre Smith curl in from the right into that open space underneath. Slides back out into the window, gives himself a little bit of extra room. Easy check down for Bo Levi Mitchell to pick up the first down.
Right tackle Quentin Barrow able to hold off Jake Serezna that time on the edge. Barrow allowing just 1 pressure on 85 pass snaps coming in to tonight. Excellent at that right tackle spot. They go back to the ground game and bouncing off the initial wave of tacklers, but being brought down is Tony Jones. And flags fly after the play here. Jones, the leading Bomber when it comes to tackling efficiency this year. 89% of the time when he's got a shot, down goes the ball carrier and tack another one on there.
And this is a big one for Tony Jones. Is good collision there with Roundtree, but if the Ticat running back is able to bounce off of that one, there's a potential big gainer there to the outside.
Almost felt like a goal line situation, right? Where it's one-on-one, and if you don't make the play, then plenty of open turf.
Yeah, such a great pickup Tony Jones has proven to be for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers after being released by the Edmonton Elks.
And the officials looking, sounds like, behind the play to determine whether or not the big tight end Mang might have made unnecessary contact. Scott Milanovic shaking the head, goes back to the call sheet.
Hamilton, number 82. It'll be 15 yards from the end of the play, second down.
A big one goes against Mang, a UR.
Yeah, Costly pushing the Tiger Cats back to their own side of midfield.
Well, he got it at 1st and 15. This one's a little different.
Yeah.
2nd and 23. Never say never. The way this aerial attack has gone throughout the year, what will they do defensively to try to get to Bo Levi Mitchell? Jordan Younger calls in the 4-man rush, and now Serezna brings down Bo. Back he goes. And Mitchell grabbing his ankle at the end of the play.
And you're going to see what turns into a little bit of a twist between Willie Jefferson and Jake.
Tom having fun with Willie Jefferson at the end of the first half because they both know how good they are and how long they've been doing this. And even Zach Collaros, who's been ruled out for the remainder of this game, making his way out to go do what he can in support of his fellow veteran quarterback.
Yeah, the Canadian Football League is a small community, and obviously great deal of respect amongst all the players, but you know, particularly when you see some of these veteran guys who have gotten to know each other over the years, competing against each other. And you know, you saw the combination of respect and camaraderie in that interaction that made us smile, right, with Bo and Willie Jefferson in the first half of this ball game. That, you know, these guys all get it.
Just getting word as well from the football operations department and our TSN crew that if Bo Levi Mitchell is taken away in the ambulance, we cannot play football without a second ambulance on site, which do not have currently. So yeah, we will let you know when we are ready to go back to playing football. But if there is a delay, it is because obviously they need to have an ambulance on site to make sure that if there is another injury, that players are taken care of and care is ready to be delivered as quickly as possible. Man, what a shame. I mean, it's, you know, hate to see a quarterback leave for any reason, hate to see a player get hurt in any situation, but Zach Collaros, one of those veterans that people here in Hamilton know and love from his time with the Tiger Cats, and certainly Bo Levi Mitchell, who 2023 injured, didn't get a chance to show his true stripes, but 24 and 25 have been 5,000-yard seasons growing in belief, building up the program with Scott Milanovic. And in 2026, it has been the best version of one of the best quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League, who this is not the way that we wanted to see the future CFL first battle. We'll see how they take to it. For now, Hamilton obviously on second down with the sack from Jake Serezna that has injured Bo Levi Mitchell. It'll be Winnipeg getting the football back as Trey Vavel catches it at the 35-yard line and turns around the corner. And if you're looking for instant offense with your backup quarterback in, who better to call than Vavel? Trailing by 9. What a big play for the Bombers on special teams.
Yeah, no question. We talk all the time in this league about the importance of complementary football in the three phases, how they factor into each other. Trey Vavel giving Taylor Elgersma terrific starting position here for an offensive possession. Big.
There is nothing better as a rookie quarterback than getting instant field position. Elgersma with 20 touchdowns in 2024 for the Golden Hawks, and this time gives it off on the end around, heading inside the 15, and it's Pokey Wilson! Touchdown on the first offensive play they have after the break. Into the end zone, Winnipeg answers.
No drop in intensity for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers after the injury delay. Keep an eye on Pokey Wilson. He's going to motion, take that shovel pass from Taylor Elgersma. Again, little situational play calling, right? Your special teams helps you out, get good field position, high percentage, low risk pass for the young QB, essentially a handoff, and you're into the end zone.
Something we got to keep in mind here as well, Dwayne, is who's calling the shots offensively for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in this football game. A guy who's had big body quarterbacks, big arms, that are young, that are mobile. Tommy Condell, when he was with the Tiger Cats, at various points used guys like Dan Lefevre, Jeremiah Masoli. He knows how to massage the game plan in real time to use your speed players on the edge, to use the big arm, to use the quarterback legs. I think that's just a sampling of what Condell has in store.
Yeah, certainly Tommy throughout his career has demonstrated a level of creativity in terms of his play design, but also his play calling, exactly as you said, Marshall, to emphasize players' strengths and in fairness, minimize any potential shortcomings as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So trying to take away some of the danger for Elgersma, perhaps limit the errors, the turnovers as the Bombers come in with a -2 turnover differential to this game. And the question now becomes for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, are we getting the Battle of Waterloo unintentionally here in the CFL between a Warrior and a Golden Hawk? Trey Ford, legendary career with the Warriors. And Elgersma just down the street in Kitchener-Waterloo is Dolagala and Trey Ford standing on the sideline. No clear indication with both of them warming up. What the plan is, maybe it's a combination.
Well, you've got two guys with starting experience.
And it's big special teams tackle, Jake Kelly. Oh, Allen Iverson step over on Isaiah Wooden after making the play. And off the sideline comes the Hamilton offense and Trey Ford into the ballgame.
And now Canadian Football League fans are familiar with Trey Ford, obviously a guy who spent the first few years of his career with the Edmonton Elks. But just to frame, this isn't just two Canadian quarterbacks from Canadian universities. Let's talk rivalry. I don't think there are any two universities on the planet closer to each other than Waterloo and Laurier, across the street from one another.
You thought Duke and UNC was good. Tobacco Road, if you're familiar with OUA play, this is the matchup in the area as Trey Ford in his time with the Edmonton Elks, up and down, obviously explosive. We saw the athleticism, the legs, and this memorable snap against the Toronto Argonauts.
Gavin Cobb on the receiving end of that one, but yeah, Trey Ford obviously best known for his athleticism.
Short yardage package is in. Jake Dolagala handles that. And Trey Ford comes out immediately, so maybe they do lead the way. We've had 6 different quarterbacks play tonight between short yardage and backups. Totally unanticipated, but keep in mind those 6 quarterbacks, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the fewest starting quarterbacks for the last 5 years. They've had just 5. And obviously Colaros, that doesn't change here this evening because he was the starter of record, but Just a ridiculous number of players having to play the position on short order here as a result of injuries and situation. So Trey Ford gets another chance. Little zone read, look, pumps, and then runs into a wall. And the Bombers defense all over it.
You see the discipline of that Winnipeg Blue Bombers front, knowing the threat that Trey Ford can be if he gets out on the edge with a run-pass option. David Reese doing a nice job not letting Ford outflank him, not allowing him to get the edge, forcing him back inside where he's got help. You see defensive coordinator Jordan Younger directing traffic.
You got to think that Younger was communicating to Reese, hey, your shuffles and all the rest, the zone read stuff as a defensive end against Trey Ford becomes massively important. This ball fired in, low and away. Just not on the same page with Keandre Smith. Ford goes to Keandre to talk things over. And I was at a little bit of training camp as well for the Tiger Cats watching on, and there were times where Ford struggled the pitch and catch, but we've seen him get into a rhythm at times and be solid as anyone. But work to be done on that first one is now special teams return. Trey Vavel steps out of bounds, and we will get a chance.
Not a bought in, but I think he'll take it.
Nick Dembski said at halftime to our Danielle Bain that he has full belief in his quarterback carrying the rest of the way. Tim White tackled right behind the line of scrimmage. Destin Talbert started the game with an interception and a great tackle on that play.
Yeah, Destin Talbert was the guy who got the momentum going Hamilton's way in the first half of this ball game. A big tackle here when you look at the way that sort of every play has gone since the Bo Levi Mitchell injury. Hamilton maybe a little bit emotionally flat, as you might expect. It's been all Winnipeg momentum, special teams, offense, defense. Since then, big play by Destin Talbert. We'll see if this turns the tide a little bit for the Cats and wakes them up.
Hamilton crowd into it. These are the situations they want to avoid for Winnipeg with their young quarterback as Oliveira. Maybe lost that one a little bit in the lights of the shine as snapped the head around and just couldn't find it in time. 2 and out.
A big defensive win and start on first down. Holding them to that 2nd and 10, keeping them in a 2nd and long situation. Advantage to the defense. Ticats with a chance to get off the field, potentially with a good wooden return. Some pretty good field position awaits here.
Low line drive punt with a free rusher coming, and to the wide side of the field, it kicks back in to the middle as Isaiah Wooden waits it out, picks it up, and nice for a couple of cheap yards on the play as Trey Ford comes back out onto the field. And the reality is as well, with these quarterbacks not anticipating getting this kind of workload tonight, we've seen a season in which there's been 50, 60 points in games with a quarter and a half to play. Distinct advantage defense right now, right? For the first time really this season.
Yes. Yes, and you wonder how that swings with less experienced quarterbacks. And, you know, in particular, 2 quarterbacks who are in their first season with their respective teams. We talk all the time about short training camps in the Canadian Football League. Well, how much of the playbook are we really going to see with Trey Ford and Taylor Elgersma at the helm?
Make the run, flip it around on the reverse. Carrick Wheatfall trying to get the edge, turns north-south, and close to the first down marker. Wheatfall, who had himself a big game in week 2, 3 catches for 102 yards to lead the Tiger Cats on the road at Princess Auto, getting into the mix here.
Yeah, I love this play call for the Ticats. You're going to get the pullers coming around. Monte Litre joining some of the big boys up front. Love the play call and the execution. Again, you think about the things you can do with Trey Ford's legs off of that kind of look, right? Countering with the quarterback, etc.
Jake Dolagala slithers his way onto the Hammer logo here at Hamilton Stadium to pick up the first down. And you wonder if we don't start to see a healthy dose of Larry Roundtree III as well, right? A bit of a power back to work hand in hand with Trey Ford.
Yeah, and you go back a couple of years when Jarius Jackson took over as the coach in Edmonton. You think about the combination when Trey Ford had his greatest success. It was the combination of he and Justin Rankin, right? The success of the running game, kind of a two-headed monster there, and then some of the things it opens up in the passing game for Trey.
As they turn around, trying to get a stretch run to Roundtree here, and Willie Jefferson right at the point of attack alongside Tony Jones. And they'll give a gain of 3 or 4 onto the field as they sub out the heavy package. Comes Curly Gittins Jr. and Myron Mitchell.
You know, realistically, as a defense, again, every time the quarterback hands off the ball and, you know, carries out his fake bootlegs the other way, whatever it may be, with Trey Ford perhaps more than any other quarterback in the league, you still need to account for that quarterback in your defensive scheme.
Trey Ford, 4-man rush, rips it to the outside, caught, and Keandre Smith, shy of the sticks, had to get to the 48, and wrapped up about 3 yards shy. Punting unit comes out for the Tiger Cats. So good strike from Ford that time, but not to the depth needed.
90.
Quick hitter, high percentage pass there. Perhaps trying to let Trey Ford find a little bit of a rhythm. Ford now in his 5th year in the Canadian Football League.
Trying to pin the Bombers, gain some field position. How important have special teams become all of a sudden in this game with both Bo Levi Mitchell and Zach Colaros out. Owen Hubert makes another special teams tackle. And Taylor walked over Trey Ford there, and I think he was trying to convince him, like, hey man, I got a double move. You want to like Trey, you want to pump it, and then I can, you know, we'll figure it out on the fly. Trying to find solutions in real time. That has become the story of this game. Thank you, Danielle, for the sideline report. Certainly the Tiger Cats battling through, losing their leader, but the defense coming to life. And I mentioned how important special teams have become as well. This is Made in the Hammer that I hear in Hamilton, and they actually introduced their special teams unit coming out of the tunnel, which, you know, interesting foreshadowing, not knowing the circumstances that would follow in the next couple of hours. But there's Bob Dice working alongside James Tuck.
Yeah, Bob Dice, longtime CFL coach in various roles, most recently the head coach of the Ottawa REDBLACKS. James Tuck, veteran special teamer and fullback, converted defensive guy in his first year, dipping his toe into the coaching waters this season, helping Bob Dice out on teams.
Algersma with the hard count on 2nd and long. Looks to the right and then fades it underneath. It is complete. And Algersma asking for the friendly spot. Will he get it is the question. And Gavin Cobb on the receiving end, another Canadian.
You know, Marsh, one of the things you and I touched on a little bit, Gavin Cobb, by the way, was on the receiving end of the highlight reel scramble and pass you saw when Trey Ford was an Edmonton Elk game against Toronto. But, you know, just talking about the quarterbacking, unique situation, right? Like, I mean, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, very timely fashion, pick up a veteran quarterback in Drew Brown, who happened to have Tommy Condell as his offensive coordinator a year ago in Ottawa.
And that one skipping down low. And was it incomplete? Yes, they'll blow this play dead. But yeah, Kyle Walters looks like a genius right now, right?
Timing is everything.
Having this deal in place. And on the other side as well, I think about Taylor Powell. It's hard not to, right? Jumping in free agency for Edmonton behind Cody Fajardo. And it's Trey Ford and Jake Dolegala here because he thought, well, Bo's in a rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, you never know how things are going to work out, right? But Taylor Powell, after starting some games in his first year, essentially it was his injury that got Bo Levi Mitchell back on the field and back on track.
Strange to think week 1, I saw Drew Brown and Taylor Powell having a conversation pregame in Ottawa. How fast things can change as again, here's Cobb, might be the favorite target of Taylor Algersma, out to the 30 this time, about 3 yards shy of the first down marker. Algersma the first to win back-to-back Larry Haller MVP awards since Tommy Dennison in 2002-2003, and ripping it outside to another U Sports product here.
Yeah, Tommy Dennison, longtime coach in the Canadian football scene, amateur football, but spent a little bit of time in the Canadian Football League with the Calgary Stampeders, former U Sports star.
But Elgersma has to give it up, and again, the special teams do their job. As another London product, just like Elgersma, it is Nick Howlett making the special teams tackle and pinning Trey Ford. Gotta admit, I did not want to see Trey Ford against Taylor Elgersma here tonight. He's throwing a heck of a curveball into this football game, but it is amazing watching these guys try to figure it out in real time.
Well, you know, we, as you said, don't like the circumstances, but there is a certain something to Canada Day weekend. Seeing two U Sports quarterbacks go head to head.
Absolutely. Well, there's the double move that Kenny Lawler was asking for.
Pass interference, Winnipeg, number 24. It'll be first down at the spot on foul.
And here you get a look close up at Kenny Lawler. Settles his feet, gets Williams to bite on it before going vertical. Flag's as good as a completion.
So Ford in plus territory. Alongside Curly Gittins Jr., he'll fade it the other way. On the money, quick as he can to Larry Roundtree, who gets wrapped up and turned back. Deep where all the fireworks went from Calgary that got lost on Thursday night. We're ending out here in Sunday, and they just lit them all off. To get the fourth quarter underway, we'll see if Ford and Elgersma can create a few of their own. Trey gets first touch. Down the middle of the field, into the end zone! Kenny Lawler has it for 6!
The previous play is under automatic review.
Trey Ford following Bo Levi Mitchell's lead, airing it out for Kenny Lawler. They're reviewing this when you see immediately Winnipeg Blue Bombers suggesting it was incomplete. We'll take a look. And yeah, you can see that one.
Great shot.
Hit the ground.
Yeah, our
Terrific
CFL
camera work.
TSN crew caught the backside angle of it. They have the final decision from the replay center.
After automatic review by the replay center, the ruling on the field has been overturned to an incomplete pass.
We'll take one more look at this one. Has it in the basket, then it kind of bounces off his leg to the ground as he rolls.
Well, they dialed it up. Coming out of the quarter break.
But I'll tell you, that doesn't count for a touchdown, doesn't count for any yardage. But what that play counts for is sending a message to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defense that it's not just going to be a quick passing game from Trey Ford. Don't get caught creeping up thinking everything's going to be underneath. It's going to keep them honest and open up some other things.
9 games in 2018 with the Waterloo Warriors. Trey Ford had 30 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, so not afraid to take the deep shot on top of his CFL accolades. As Trey Vavel pushed out of bounds. And another chance to see Taylor Elgersma.
Again, Taylor Elgersma, Heck Crichton Trophy winner, is the most outstanding player in Canadian university football. Participated, first U Sports quarterback ever to participate in the Senior Bowl. Obviously prestigious bowl game scouting opportunity south of the border. Parlays that into a free agent opportunity with the Green Bay Packers, and some terrific preseason experience for him there.
Algersma hands off to Brady Oliveira. Gets north-south as quick as he can. You wonder whether or not they come back and play a little bit of Brady ball. Just down 2 here in the fourth quarter. You see Dante Daniels, the young rookie tight end right there. Jarrell Broxton, free agency addition from the BC Lions. They have built a physical monster. Now's the time to use it, you got to think.
Yeah, you would think they'll lean on Brady a little bit in this one, particularly as long as they're able to nurse a lead here, though certainly they would like to extend that to a couple of possessions, up by only 2 points at the moment.
Brett Monson coming home, originally from the area as well. They fake it to Dembski, and then Brady O spins off original contact, puts a shoulder down, and makes his way for the first down. Didn't have it on first effort, but the 2023 and 2024 MOC, Most Outstanding Canadian, earns the first down.
Adding an MOP to that resume in 24. Had a good chat with Brady about his off-season training in Bali.
Is this when the Bali training pays off?
That's it. Certainly the Hamilton heat and humidity don't have quite the same impact.
Algersma fakes it to Oliveira, looks the other direction, and in behind, but complete. Tim White makes Wynton McManus miss, and Reggie Stubblefield there to bring him down at around the 45-yard line. And another fresh set of downs from Tim White.
Yeah, nice effort from Tim White and friends to reach that first down marker. White making the catch and then getting a little bit of a tush push. I think it was Dante Daniels that came in to help get the momentum going in Winnipeg's direction.
Taylor Algersma from Oak Ridge Secondary School. Used to play for the London Junior Knights. How Canadian is that as well? A little bit of puck in the background of the big man pulling the trigger here for the Blue Bombers, and completes this to Hamilton native Michael Chris Ike onto the stat sheet here tonight at home. Little Oak Ridge to St. Thomas More connection.
Yes, sir. St. Thomas More, local powerhouse over the years here in the world of Hamilton High School football, though. You know, I know the boys at Westdale won a city championship this year, won the junior championship this spring too, I'm told.
Wynton McManus back in the fray here tonight. Don't think he expected this challenge. Algersma, deep drop, checks it down underneath. Nick Dembski bounces off original contact as always, and then hacked down along the sideline. And Dembski, tough as nails, the Winnipeg native on his feet.
Yeah, Dembski trying to shake that one off. It looks like he's got a little bit of a limp in his step, but pulls that one in on the fingertips. Nice job to get what he got, but shy of that first down. You'll notice Hamilton going with 2 returners now, as Winnipeg has basically been trying to kick the ball on the ground away from Wooden to limit his returns.
Oh, big hit along the sideline. Special teams coverage, another Golden Hawk right there.
Coase.
Oh, Trey Ford. Little hard count, might have got the vet, Willie J, says Mia Culpa.
Offside, Winnipeg, number 5. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's going to remain first down.
Love that Willie raises his hand like pick up basketball to claim a foul.
Yeah, Willie's earned a mulligan or 2.
I would say so.
Right?
And they empty it out now for Ford on the first 2 snaps of this drive. On one side, we see bully ball downhill physicality, and the other, it's Ford spreading the field, now going quarterback draw, chase down from behind, and a flag flies as well.
Tony Jones spent a little bit of time in Edmonton. I think he knows he is aware of the threat at hand.
Holding, Hamilton, number 59. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay first down.
A team that's taken the fewest penalties per game. The Tiger Cats coming in at just 4.7 per contest. They take one here as you see the right tackle maybe hanging on a little bit, but Tony Jones can't be stopped. And yeah, to your point, it's been interesting seeing the different ways Winnipeg's called their defense with Trey Ford in the game, leaving a couple of people to spy him, track him down, try to contain, limit the legs. Any CFL fan knows how explosive Ford can be when he gets running up to full speed. This time he's forced to run around the edge. Willie Jefferson gives chase, and Ford trying to dance away from one of the longest defenders in the CFL, and he does. Flat-footed, and now Ford flips it over the top, and it's incomplete. Larry Roundtree couldn't hang on. It wouldn't have gone for a first down likely with coverage right there, but that is the lightning in a bottle that we know is inside that man right there.
One of the fastest players in the Canadian Football League. And I feel fairly comfortable saying the fastest quarterback. We got some guys who can run, but I think if we line them up and put them in the starting blocks, I think Trey wins.
Measured in the 40-yard dash at 4.49 seconds as Dolegala is in for this snap, and oh boy, Dolegala cold off the bench. Almost gifted one to Dietrich Nichols if he could have hung on.
Oh, bullet dodge there, Jake Dolegala. We've seen him primarily as the short yardage quarterback here for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but a guy with some starts on his resume, particularly as a Saskatchewan Roughrider.
Feel very comfortable saying if that went for a pick six, the post-game Ticats callers would have lit up on Jake Dolegala quarterback. Victory on the road at Calgary to start the season. Loss at home in week 2 to Hamilton, and then last week against the Edmonton Elks. Here they are on the road as this one falls incomplete onto the turf. And the quarterbacks being asked to step up and make some big plays here down the stretch.
Yeah, well, it's the bottom line is it's pro football. You got to win games, right? And I am reminded of the quote. At some point we ask of the piano-playing dog, not, are you a dog, but are you any good at playing the piano? Bottom line being, at a certain point, it starts off as a novelty that these guys are Canadian quarterbacks and went to Canadian universities. But right now, we just want to know if they can play.
Oh, this is a big throw. Ontario Wilson, they'll draw the defensive pass interference call. So shot for shot if you want to do a call back to Trey Ford, looking for Kenny Lawler in terms of pass interference, flipping
Pass
the field.
interference, Hamilton, number 2. It'll be first down at the spot of the foul.
But to your point, Dwayne, it's time to start playing the piano. It's go time.
This is it, right? It's for the first, maybe for Taylor Elgersma more than Trey Ford. Accidental trip.
It is accidental pass interference against Hamilton, number 2. It'll be a 10-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Well, they clip the legs, and the replay center looks that over, and Paul Peters won't like the call, but I got to say, great to have him on the field after a really scary incident back in week 2 when these two teams were playing.
Jamal Peters, part of a cluster tie at the top of the league interception board last year. He and his teammate Stavros Katsantonis both had 6 on the season.
Tommy Condell calls this one into Elgersma, who will flip it over the top, looking for Tim White, but squeezed to the sideline. Julian Hauser giving chase that time, and Condell did tell us as well, when you mentioned Stavros Katsantonis, he said he's the one that makes the pressure packages for the Hamilton Tiger Cats work. He's like, I've told our quarterbacks, whether it's Zach Collaros, Taylor Elgersma, you need to keep an eye on Katsantonis on the back end, because he'll tell you where things are going.
Certainly, that's it. A little bit old school, right? But always locate the safety.
One of the best players when it comes to true instincts on the back end. Sometimes he just seems to guess, but you talk to him afterwards, he goes, no, I saw it. I knew what we were doing, reading routes and all the rest. As Algersma stares down second and long here. Past the football, now pressure's on, and down he goes! The Hamilton pass rush gets there. Philip Osai.
We mentioned Osai off the top, a guy who was on a 12-sack pace last season. Here you'll see him coming from the right edge of your screen from his defensive end spot, a guy who proved to be an outstanding bookend to Julian Hauser once he got in the lineup last season. You know, just on the redirect, tough for the offensive line to know where their quarterback is.
Short yardage, and the last snap that Jake Dolegala nearly threw an interception, but Ford now watching on from the sideline as it looks like a change of heart from the Hamilton coaching staff. And with 6 minutes remaining and clock rolling, Scott Milanovic, talk about playing the piano a second ago, hitting all the different keys he possibly can to make sweet notes, and turns out Larry Roundtree is all they needed here. Hacked down out near midfield, but a first down on first down in the gain of 16.
And perhaps putting this game on the shoulders of their offensive line. Largely veteran group. You see Trevor Reed getting on his man. Brandon Revenberg had a nice kick out block, creating that lane for Larry Roundtree. Good downhill runner to get north-south.
Dolegala in his 5th year out of Central Connecticut, 2nd year with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Takes the snap here and hands it off once again in between the tackles. And all of a sudden, Hamilton's running game has come to life as this one's loose at the bottom of the pile. Roundtree lost it. And who was that from the offensive line that came sliding in that might have saved the day? Because I think Tony Jones was right there on top of it.
Both had hands on it. And right at the feet of Brandon Revenberg.
Retta Cramney punched it out there, Dwayne, and then, whoa, underneath Brandon Revenberg.
Someone else came diving in. Cramney very intentionally, nice play to punch that ball out. Winnipeg safety.
Law firm of Cramney and Kelly making quick work of the punch out on that one. As now to the outside and a brick wall right there, and the defensive front standing tall. They know what's coming. And Tony Jones once again with Kelly and Cam Lawson setting up Hamilton with 2nd and long, and now Trey Ford comes back in on 2nd and long as Dolegala goes to the sideline.
Yeah, a couple of big hitters up the middle for Roundtree, but interesting after a series of run plays that it's Trey Ford checking back into the game. Perhaps just situational, as we saw Scott Milanovic certainly sort of going through some plays with him on the sidelines.
Certainly not done for the evening. Doesn't appear to be injury. Is now rifling it on an interception. It's Major Williams who picked it off on a pass that was closest to Kenny Lawler. But when they put in Jake Dolegala a minute ago, cold off the bench, he nearly threw an interception. It should have been, and this time Ford off the sideline cold. And he does throw the INT.
And it just looks like this one is just well behind the receiver. Looking to the outside, Kenny Lawler. Several steps outside of where that ball was thrown. Williams sees the ball in the air, sits on it, comes up with the pick. Young man who's been tested throughout this ball game comes up with one of the biggest plays of the evening here for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
As whistles blow, Mike O'Shea was running down the sideline.
Timeout, Winnipeg.
He does get time in before the 3-minute warning. And again, fascinating matchup and developments throughout this game. In reality, he is 2-point ball game and an interception. That's a major play by Major Williams.
Yes.
That's a Major Williams.
Play on Major Williams play. Yeah, he's had himself a night. He has battled throughout, and young man has certainly won his share against some veteran receivers here.
Said coming into this ball game, he had heard of Bo Levi Mitchell and Kenny Lawler. Well, unfortunately, Bo's not here, but still defending Lawler, and gets the interception in coverage as Elgersma loads up, steps up in the pocket, and he's wrapped up. Onto the turf, that Hamilton defensive line coming to life here late on. Mario Kendricks Jr. Amazing. Ford in and out and up and down here tonight, just through the interception. Now Elgersma trying to play hero with a clean pocket. He rips it to the outside, and it is completed. Reggie Stubblefield right there. And I'll tell you what, if Taylor Elgersma was the starting quarterback for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers all the time, Gavin Cobb might be all CFL.
A little bit of chemistry between those guys. Perhaps a little opportunity to work together during training camp.
Third and short. 2:53 remaining on the clock. You can see Brett Monson calling things in as Bryce Perkins, the short yardage quarterback, is in. Plucks his way forward. Flags fly on both sides. Usually indicative of the Hamilton defense lining up too close to the 1-yard restricted zone. So Elgersma gets a chance to continue his push here against Monson's defense.
And again, like a reminder to fans, one of the challenges when you get, particularly early in the season, into a game where backup quarterbacks are playing, CFL training camps are short. Reps during the week are limited outside of your starters.
There are 2 fouls on the previous play. We have offside, Hamilton. That penalty is declined. Too many players, Hamilton. 10-yard penalty, first down Winnipeg.
Ooh. Sticks were moving regardless. But the point being that it takes time to develop quarterbacks, and even within a season, you know, there's a little bit of a curve for these guys. So it's, you know, it's going to be limited for these guys right now. The Bo Levi Mitchell injury looks serious. We don't necessarily know the status of Zach Collaros at this time. And obviously Drew Brown being part of the picture in Winnipeg now.
Absolutely. His draw handoff to Brady Oliveira, and tumbling through the middle of the Hamilton defense for a first down. It's a gain of 12, and inside the 40-yard line is Elgersma trying to match Zach Collaros' one game-winning drive from earlier on this season.
We saw Hamilton with some success with their running back, Larry Roundtree the third on the last possession. Winnipeg, why not? Is there a more proven commodity on that offense than Brady Oliveira?
No. Winston McManus has got to be knowing that as well, right? He understands where they want to go. But it is team defense up front battling against the Bombers, big bodies, and Oliveira wins the battle once again. Big chunk on first down.
Well, Winnipeg playing to the game situation as the clock ticks down to 2:15. Keep the clock moving, limit the risk, take the pressure off your young quarterback. Put it in the hands of one of your most dangerous weapons, but also, I know, Marshall, you've talked about this. We talked at length on draft night about this. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers are built to win a certain way, and it's with physicality and the ball in the hands of number 20.
Churn this one out as flags fly once again, and no, they'll actually blow this dead. Perkins was free rolling, maybe the right side of the Winnipeg line.
Procedure, Winnipeg, number 66. It's 5-yard penalty, and it remains second down.
Call Stanley Bryant.
Keep an eye on the bottom of your screen. A little bit of early movement.
But again, Dwayne, like you're saying, trying to make sure that the situation is organized and managed and all the rest for Taylor Algers, but you have it in short yardage. You're probably just going to take a dive, maybe another dive and a field goal. And now all of a sudden you're backed up. 2nd and 9. Algers checking the play band late here as he communicates to Ontario Wilson. And Tim White will hand it off. Brady Oliveira gets that and more.
Well, Brady Oliveira is running the rock right now down the stretch like a guy who has just been thinking through the second half of this ball game. Just give me the ball.
Yeah.
Tight end Dante Daniels in this situation. Big, experienced offensive line.
Braxton Hill hanging on for dear life on that one. Career high 10 defensive tackles against the BC Lions. And tied for the league lead in tackling efficiency with Darnell Sankey, which is a pretty darn good guy to be tied when it comes to anything tackling. But Hill went for a ride on the back of number 20. That snap. 1st and 10, Winnipeg. Right back to the well they go. Oliveira cuts it back, stood up for a moment, but falls forward for another 5.
Timeout, Hamilton.
Well, solid defensive play in terms of stepping up, turning Oliveira to the inside, not giving him a chance to bounce that to the perimeter. But you see the power of Brady Oliveira, maybe caught off guard initially as Talbert steps into him, but keeps those legs churning, gets that body lead, moves the pile forward for a couple extra yards. Getting it to that manageable 2nd and 4 situation.
And late substitutions here on both sides. You see Brett Monson calling tonight up against Tommy Condell. The Cats off a bye. As mentioned, 4-1 under Scott Milanovich in his time as the head coach here in Hamilton, but back against the wall right now. How aggressive will the Bombers be? I'll play it safe. Back to Oliveira. Reads his blocks, bounces off another tackler or two, and looks like he reaches and gets a fresh set of downs once again. And more importantly than the yardage here, Dwayne, is clock.
Yeah, absolutely. You're happy to move the sticks because it gives you a chance to run 3 more plays that keep that clock moving. And do we anticipate Brady, and maybe more Brady?
I thought you were going to give me a multiple choice option here. It was like, on this play, should the Bombers pick Brady, or Mr. Oliveira?
All of the above.
Yeah. They will. Straight into the pile. Patrick Neufeld blocking on Braxton Hill, getting every ounce he possibly can. And a big one to come on the road here and get back to 500. This would be for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
What runs through my mind, quite honestly, Marshall, is you think about the way a game turns on a dime, right? The Bo Levi Mitchell injury happens. Can't imagine something much more deflating for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Ticats were leading at the time. The next 2 plays, Trey Vavel punt return, Pokey Wilson touchdown.
Absolutely, and right back to Brady Oliveira. Reggie Stubblefield has had enough of that diet over the last 5 plays or so. And to your point, the Kenny Lawler touchdown, 3 plays into the ballgame, the only touchdown on the board for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Bit of a sleepy second quarter, making yards, getting an odd chipping field goal. But now, as a result of the events that have added up over the last 4 quarters, it's Sergio Castillo with 41 seconds remaining. A shot to take a field goal for the lead, and they'll let this clock roll as well. They can get it down to about 20 seconds on the game clock before Castillo has to put foot to ball. Well, Quebec City, Ian LaRue is the long snapper. Jamison Sheehan is the holder, and the field goal is good. Winnipeg leads for the first time here this evening.
Perfectly executed drive by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers down the stretch. And it may be a young quarterback, but a whole lot of veterans around him steadied the ship. Not just the offensive line, but the receivers getting involved in the blocking game. You know, Brady Oliveira had a fumble last week in a sort of a turnover-filled first half for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, looking after the ball security at a critical time. And setting the Winnipeg Blue Bombers up for that go-ahead field goal. Now the threat of Isaiah Wooden
certainly, yeah,
looms rather large here.
I believe the off returner is Myron Mitchell that's back as well, who is no slouch when it comes to special teams action and danger. Slow start to the season when it comes to kick returns for touchdowns. The last couple of weeks have seen that element of the CFL's entertainment value start to skyrocket as well. What will Sergio Castillo do to try and prevent that from happening? It's a sidewinder, but a great distance kick. As they'll take the reverse in between, and now pitch to the outside. Trying to create something out of nothing, and now all the time is coming off the clock and pushed out of bounds. The imagination was there, the execution perhaps not, but Mark Leggio, will he get an opportunity is the question now with 10 seconds remaining.
Oh, good coverage. Discipline there from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. You know, Mike Miller, of course, one of the great special teams cover players in CFL history. Think of he and Dan Rasevich at the top of that that category, but Mike Miller obviously now coaching, and discipline a big part of that, right? Staying in your lanes so the misdirection plays don't fool you. Great defensive start position here for Winnipeg.
Willie Jefferson gives chase, and underneath, incomplete. Jake Dolagala in after the Trey Ford interception, so 5 seconds remaining, and this is last gasp stuff for the Tiger Cats, who won on the road. Going out to Winnipeg, home to BC. Now trying to do something miraculous.
And you see Taylor Elgersma poised to collect his first Canadian Football League win.
Pressure on, and down goes Dolagala as the helmet pops off at the end of the play. David Reese, the one that appears to have finished things off, is Justin McInnes. The referee talks things over. And no confirmation as of yet. Probably looking at whether there was a second left on the clock. And that will do it in a memorable twisting and turning conclusion to week number 5. Taylor Elgersma finds a way in replacement of Zach Collaros out with injury before David Reese wraps up and throws down Jake Dolagala to blow the final whistle.
Yeah, Winnipeg defensive line finishes it off. Again, great special teams cover. Puts them in a position to get it done. Mike O'Shea, Scott Milanovich, longtime friends, colleagues from their time.